Okay, guys, here we go. Daily update for science. I wanted to spend a little bit of time reviewing your activity yesterday, which was to take some notes and watch a video on the carbon cycle. First and foremost, you might be curious as well, why do we care so much about the carbon cycle? Two reasons. First, life as we know it here on Earth is carbon-based. And what I mean by that is when you drill down to the cellular level, even further than that, when you take a look at DNA, all of that stuff is made up of carbon. So without carbon, life as we know it on Earth would be very, very different. So, why do we care about carbon? Well, we're made of it. The second reason why we care so much about the carbon cycle is we hear a lot about it in the news. And we hear about it through, global warming and climate change. So the whole idea of, burning fossil fuels, well, fossil fuels are carbon, what is that doing to our atmosphere? Really important that you have a strong understanding of, what's actually happening so that when you hear things in the news, you can make informed decisions about, is what you're hearing true or not? So when it comes down to the carbon cycle, this picture right here from the video, really important that you understand all the different processes, all of these words and their definitions, where the carbon is starting, where it's going to, and in particular, really important that you know which processes are adding carbon to the atmosphere and which ones are removing carbon from the atmosphere. One process that can be a little tricky is diffusion. And diffusion is kind of tricky because it both adds carbon to the atmosphere and or takes carbon from the atmosphere. And it does that because of, how carbon works, or diffusion works. Now, diffusion is just the process of moving high concentrations of something to areas of lower concentrations, which, hopefully sounds familiar. During our climate unit, we talked a lot about high-low pressure and wind, trying to balance that out, moving air from high pressure, which is just a high concentration of air molecules, to a lower pressure, which is just low concentration of air molecules. So think of it that way. Diffusion is just moving from high to low. So two things could happen. You could have a large amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and a lower concentration in the ocean. Well, in that case, carbon dioxide is going to diffuse into the ocean. Or the other thing that could happen is there's a larger amount of carbon dioxide in the ocean and less in the atmosphere, which would cause carbon to be removed from the ocean and put into the atmosphere. Okay, so really important that you go through this, that you know these things. If you have questions, please make sure you ask. Otherwise, what is the plan for the day today? Well, a couple of reminders. First and foremost, you have homework due today, which is this human impact on the carbon cycle. This is all of the questions that you had from Tuesday with all the different graphs. So please make sure that's all set, ready to go. You turn that into Schoology by 11:59 p.m. The other activity for the day today is to take a look at these carbon cycle notes in the outline. Going to be really important and very helpful for the homework check that you're going to have today. So make sure you get those done as well. Otherwise, your things that you're going to do today, we usually start our units with a learning target summary sheet. Well, we gave you a couple of things to do beforehand. Today you're going to start that learning target summary. Should be up there at the top of your folder. So when you take a look at this learning target summary, it should look very familiar. We didn't do anything different with this document. The pink boxes are the learning targets themselves, so really important that you read through those. The first thing I'd like you to do is just read through all of them. I think there are 7 or so, 8 of them, and just rate yourself. How do you feel with these right now? Remember, one is, this is completely brand new, and 4 is, I could teach this learning target to somebody else. Otherwise, the process is this will be due on the day of our test. You will work through these as we go through and fill out the gray boxes by answering the summary questions. Really important that you utilize, highlight, underline the keywords in that far left-hand column. And today you should be able to work on learning targets 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so that is an activity for the day today, working through those learning target summaries. You also have a homework check on the carbon cycle. That's why the activity we did on Tuesday with the graphs and the questions and the notes and the note outline are going to be important. Utilize those while you're taking your homework check. It is timed, just like always. And then the last thing that you're going to do today is in the update, you'll see a link to a quick little video called The Collapse of the Ocean. When we hear about climate change and global warming, we really focus on, what's happening to the atmosphere, what's happening to the temperature, and what kind of impact does that have on various different spheres. And the sphere that we focus on the most is the cryosphere, which is the ice sphere. Melting of the Arctic, Antarctic, what is that going to do to global sea levels, habitats for organisms that live there? One thing that we don't think a lot about is, this diffusion thing, and what impact does that have on the ocean. This video is going to really open your eyes, hopefully, at what impacts are happening right now due to the diffusion of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere into the ocean, especially on coral reefs, which are one of the most important ecosystems in the ocean. So watch that video, answer the couple of questions in your mind that show up in the update. You don't have to write them down or turn them in anywhere, but think through those questions that you see in the update. And have a great day.